Hey guys, today's a story that you have probably heard unless you've been living under a rock. We're going to be talking about John Benet Ramsey. Got a lot of good information for you though, and a lot of debate about possibilities and just the who, what, why of it. So, some good stuff, some new stuff. Stay tuned. Hey, hey!
Hey!
Welcome back to our channel, Two Peas in a Crime Pod.
Episode 32.
32 up in her. 32.
32.
Good times. 32 was good times.
I am sorry, but I have to keep that other cut because
Why?
it is going on the shorts. So we discovered that our audio stopped recording and we're trying to redo the intro like we haven't already done it, but we already did the
We don't
intro.
even know. We can't. It's just not organic anymore.
It's not. So we're going to probably use it like maybe a few parts of it because she was hilarious when you said pick up sticks is the time for dicks or something like that.
It wasn't that, but it was close. I said 36 is the time for dicks or something like that. 36 getting dicks.
She had me dying. And I have to use that. I'm sorry. So it might not have the enhanced video of our microphone. It'll just be the phone recording, or it might. Well, no, it's not going to be on that. So
you'd have to add the audio. You'd have to add the visual or did you delete it already?
Oh, fuck. No, it'll be saved it's still in there. It's in the deleted files. I can retrieve it.
Oh, she can retrieve it.
I am going to.
Okay. So you can add that visual and this one and then just cut and splice.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's hard. We don't ever redo the same thing. Like,
no, we've never had to do this before. We've just been like, well, fuck it. We'll just do what we've got.
Well, we'll just have to watch it with no audio or whatever. Like
no
video because we can't redo it. It doesn't work if we have to say everything again.
Right.
So anyways, basically this time we're just jumping right into the case. The case is Jean Benet Ramsey.
Yes. Oh, I'm pretty sure, viewer discretion, don't watch this if stuff triggers you.
Stuff and things. It's going to be full of stuff and things. So
if you've never heard of Jean Benet Ramsey,
what rock do you live under?
In Boulder, Colorado, December 26th of 1996, in the early morning hours after Christmas Day, a 6-year-old beauty queen was reported kidnapped from her family's upscale Boulder home. By nightfall, she was found dead in the basement. Nearly 3 decades later, the killing of John Benet Ramsey remains one of the most infamous and unresolved murder investigations in American history. So we got a lot of ins and a lot of outs.
She was reported missing and found in her own house where they swore that they had already run through and like, she's not in her room. Where is she? Everybody runs around the house, can't find her. And then hours later, the police have been there looking and somebody comes across her in a room off of the basement that
it was like the wine cellar.
They didn't go to normally, but it's weird. The whole thing is just weird. It's odd.
I'm telling you, you're going to suspect everybody by the time we're through.
This is why it's not solved. Yeah.
Yep. So the case mainly involves the Ramsey family, and that was John Ramsey. He's the patriarch. He was the president of Access Graphics, which is a computer distribution company. And like I said, this is back in 96, so big deal.
Yeah.
Age 53 at the time of her death. He was a millionaire executive and also a former Navy pilot. So he's got a few, what do you call that? A few notches on his belt.
Yeah.
Something like that.
An accomplished man.
Very accomplished.
Yes.
Then we have Patsy Ramsey. She's the matriarch. She was 40 at the time of Jean Benet's death. She was a former Miss West Virginia and also a breast cancer survivor. She was heavily involved in Jean Benet's pageant career.
Yes.
Then we have Burke Ramsey, who is her 9-year-old brother. He was just present in the home the night of the murder. The family lived in a large multi-level Victorian-style home in Boulder's affluent neighborhood. So let's talk about Jean Benet. What a precious little girl. If you haven't seen pictures of her, I highly recommend. Well, I'll put some up, but just absolutely gorgeous child.
She was a sweet little girl. Yeah.
Hmm.
And an outgoing, talented little girl.
Absolutely. She was born August 6th, 1990. She was the same age as you.
Yeah, she's just a little bit older than me.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. In Atlanta, Georgia.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the youngest child of John and Patsy Ramsey, and the family. So, did I say she was born in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. They later relocated to Boulder, Colorado, and that was just for John's business. They lived in this large multi story home, and she grew up surrounded by adult attention and lots of travel and plenty of structure. And the cool thing about the home is it was large and layered and busy. There were staircases and doors and routines and expectations. So, according to family and friends and school staff, Jean Bonnet was outgoing and confident in public, gentle and affectionate at home. She enjoyed singing and dancing and performing, which is probably what made her, so good at the pageants.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was described as polite and well mannered and emotionally expressive. She was known to be close to her mother and her brother. So we're not mentioning dad. Probably he's probably working a
Probably
lot.
work. Yeah, I would just assume working.
Yeah, I'm sure she was close to him, but probably closer to mom and brother at that age.
Yeah.
So teachers reported no signs of distress or fear in the weeks before her death. John Bonet attended High Peaks Elementary School, which was in Boulder, and she was a kindergarten student there and academically on track. She was popular among her peers, and teachers later stated that she did not appear withdrawn or troubled. And why that matters is in trying to figure out if she had been being abused, because some of the evidence pointed to maybe some kind of
Well, when
sexual
you're found,
abuse.
yeah, you're found in your own home dead.
Yeah.
You're wondering if
And then,
something had been going on, and then other stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So the pageant world, well, this was controversial. So controversial at the time, especially in 96. Um, She is best known publicly for her involvement in the child beauty pageants that she attended and often won, which it became a very controversial part of her identity after her death because you see pictures of her with full makeup on. Stage makeup is different than makeup. When kids are up on stage, they're shining bright lights in your face, and your face basically just looks white. So you have to wear dark, dark, dark makeup just to look
You have
normal.
to wear heavy makeup.
Yeah, it's
So,
not.
like right now, if I wasn't wearing any makeup, I would just look like, especially with light eyes and my eyebrows are like lighter than they normally look. My eyebrows look more like this usually. I would just look like a totally white, washed out palette, and you would just see like this white circle making noises and laughing every once in a while. Like
Right.
I wear lipstick and I darken my eyebrows and stuff. So like I have some expression on my
Features.
face. You can see what my face is doing when I'm whatever, and when
Yeah.
you're up on stage, it's even worse. You're far away from them and the lights are super intense. These lights are dim as shit. So yeah, I was in dance growing up, and yeah, like when you do your makeup, you look like a little teeny tiny baby prostitute
For the
because you got
recitals.
big red lipstick on and dark blue eyeshadow on and mascara on a little girl who would otherwise never need mascara, because you want to make sure that when they're smiling or when they're doing their dramatic dances that your face is a part of the act, you know what I mean?
Right. So they
So
call it stage makeup for a
yeah,
reason. It's not what you would walk down the street wearing. And people flipped out and they thought that, Patsy was, you know,
they think
prostituting her daughter
they think that
out.
that pageants are sexualizing children. Now, I am 50-50 on this. Do I understand being in dance and needing stage makeup as a part of like your costume so that the whole thing fits together? Yes. Now, do I think pageants need to be all that they are? No. No, I don't. I think they're a little fucking much. Um I think that we should celebrate our children and instill them with confidence and make our young girls feel beautiful. Do I think that they need 6-inch tall hair and extensions and full fucking contour makeup and
A bathing
adult
suit.
style bathing suits? No. No, I don't. I don't necessarily think those people are perverted. I'm not drawing a straight parallel to like you're sexualizing your child. I just think that it's fucking dumb. I just think that it's too much. Like, why can't it be a little bit like, why can't it just be her normal hair with some normal curls in it and she can present whatever her talent is?
Is that part of the woke? Am I using that correctly? Is that part of the woke stuff going on? Is that saying you're woke,
Like,
or like would that mean that you're woke? Is that what that means?
I don't
I
know,
hear that all
because
the time, but I don't know what it means.
you're right. Like, woke culture is like
Woke culture. That's what I was
being
trying
like
to say.
up to speed, but then it gets negative, like a negative connotation too. Like if you were like Silence Art Kelly, I'd be like, wow, you're so woke, aren't you? Like, oh, you know something about something. Like,
Oh,
you can
okay.
use it either way.
Okay.
Um, you know, especially in today's climate, I already fucking brought up Epstein once. People do sick shit to children.
Mm-hmm.
And um it's fucking gross and despicable, and I understand that. It is not lost on me. I'm not naive. I know that children are abused. I'm aware that that happens. I've been aware of it for a long time, you know? So
She's pointing to me because I was abused and she had to live with a hypervigilant mother her entire childhood who did a lot of crazy shit and caused her some tears.
no, I'm saying it because like well, yeah, that's all true. But no, I was saying it because like I'm aware that people
Fam-
are gross.
People are gross.
People are gross and will absolutely hurt children. So, that being said, the sexualization of women, is there an overlap there, like a Venn diagram? Yeah. But I hate the idea of conflating or likening what they do to pageant girls and making them wear all this fucking makeup and making their hair like so much more, like so big and so ridiculous and so much more than it needs to be, and all of these things. Do I think that it's inappropriate because it might draw attention from pedophiles and make them, do I think that the mothers are doing it because they want them to look like grown women and that's creepy because then men might become attracted to them? No. If a man is attracted to a fucking child, there's a fucking problem. I'm here to tell you that putting lipstick on that little girl
would be
didn't make that man suddenly go like, oh, she's not a child
that's
anymore.
victim blaming.
Yes, right. Like, I don't like doing that. I don't like assimilating those two things.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's bad for the child's self-esteem to make them feel like whatever talent they had to present and building their confidence was based upon needing all this extra shit done to them instead of just celebrating their beauty as it is.
I could get down with that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, yeah, do I understand that like a little bit of lipstick and like some mascara is necessary so that the stage lights don't wash them out and you can see their lips moving when they talk and give answers or when they dance and sing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that makes sense to me. That's a part of being on stage. I think we take it too far and that it is damaging, you know, in a day and age where, you know, my 8-year-old son is already dealing with being called fat. And my daughter every day is already like, am I fat, mom? And
she's a beanpole.
My 15-year-old daughter, all of her friends are fucking anorexic and won't eat. And they're worried, like, that's what I am worried about. I am so over being told, like, well, maybe if her shorts weren't so short, you know, and she's drawing attention and what the fuck does my shorts being short have to do with drawing attention? How about don't fucking look at me? How about that? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And then how do you explain rape in cultures where the woman where,
A burqa or
yeah,
whatever they're
like
called.
completely covered
Yeah.
and all that's visible is their fucking eyes. How do you explain rape that happens in that culture where none of their skin was showing and they were purposely trying to be as modest and unseen as possible?
Right, right.
If a dude or a woman, whoever, rape happens both ways. If someone wants to fucking take advantage of someone sexually, they're going to. And if men or whoever are so weak that like if my shirt's like this and like all of a sudden you just can't fucking control yourself and you have to motorboat me or rape me, how is that my fault? Control your fucking self. They're just boobs. Like Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
why are we making that a woman's fault? You have no self-control because she was wearing a sundress and you couldn't deal? Like what? You know, like it's weird. So the point in all of this with pageants is like I think that it's weird when there became allegations like, well, what if John Benet had been being sexually molested? And then people were like, the mom was like making her wear these little swimsuits and these little sexy little outfits and putting her in all this makeup and like no wonder. It's because she was trying to like she didn't care. She was promoting her being like sexy. And I'm like, okay. I don't think the mom was trying to promote her being sexy. Do I think it was too much just because like a child should build a healthy self-esteem based on like how they look when they roll out of bed in the morning? Yes, too much. Do I think that it was hypersexual? No. That's weird to say. Like, and just because you put makeup on a child, now now they're sexualized. Like,
It's like we're trafficking them.
yeah,
Like
like
she was trafficking her. And that's not at all what was going on. It was just pageant life.
yeah, my daughter was an acro, so she's like wearing uh you know, the uniforms that are very tight or super short like swimsuit bottoms, you know, like
Hmm.
your half your butt cheeks hanging out and she's up there bending in all kinds of weird ways and doing splits and shaking her ass on the stage and I've got her in makeup so that you can see her face and like at no point in time was I trying to sexualize my child.
Right.
Was it lost on me that I can't control who shows up to the show at the end of the year and there might be some fucking creeps watching? That wasn't lost on me. Not at all. Was I watching the same thing they were? Yes. Were we having the same thoughts during it? Probably not. What am I supposed to not let my daughter learn acrobats because there's pedophiles in the world? Like
Right. I
what can you do?
of course
Like
not.
so I just feel like everybody really freaked out and like gave this mom such a hard time about her being a pageant
Well, they
mom.
sensationalized it and dramatized it.
And I
And
was just like, listen, do I think that the mom I don't know, maybe was she like trying to make her be this really perfect little girl and like maybe was she like pushing like you've got to win on her? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know that to be true or false. I hope not. I hope that John Bonet was just like, I really have a passion for singing and being on stage. And her mom was like, okay, I'll do whatever I can to help you with that.
yeah.
And I would do the same. My daughter was an acro and I did the same. She really loved it. So I took her to the fucking practices and I paid for the fucking uniforms and I
Hmm.
went to everything and I helped her at home. And that's what parents do if your daughter shows and if your child shows an interest in something.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I really feel like they beat the shit. And this mom got defensive, and I would have too. Like, I'd have been like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. So John Bonet's pageant participation included dance routines, costume performances, hairstyling and makeup, and she had titles that included Little Miss Colorado, Little Miss Charlevoix, and America's Royal Miss. So, Patsy was a former beauty queen, and she's the one who coached John Bonet. Pageants were framed by the family as confidence building activities, but critics later questioned the appropriateness. However, no evidence shows that Jean Bonnet ever resisted participating. So, I think it was pretty innocent at the time. I think it's just a culture. You're either raised in it and you get it, or you're not, and maybe you don't get it, or
And a
you're
lot of
not, and
little
maybe you do get
girls
it.
maybe didn't know, they weren't 5 years old like, "I wanna be in a pageant," because you're not born knowing what the fuck a pageant is. But maybe she loved to wear her little dress up clothes at home
Yeah.
and, like, sing in her bedroom and jump and dance around like most little girls do, and her mom, having had pageant experience, was like, "Oh, you're a fucking shoo-in. That's exactly what pageants are. It's all about
Mhm.
wearing your little outfits and dancing and presenting yourself," and
Right.
that's not sinister, you know?
No.
Um, in general, do
That's
I
not the
think
sinister
no,
part. That's not the sinister
that's not
thing
the
about
sinister,
this.
right? In general, do I think pageants are stupid? Yeah, yes, I do. I'm not pro pageant. I think they're fucking dumb. Sorry, guys. I I just think that there's better ways to build self confidence and promote women's education. It still just comes off as vapid, and I've seen miscongeniality 800 times, and I love the idea that these girls are actually really smart and really it's still, when you watch an actual pageant, that doesn't come across. You just look like you're trying to be skinny and pretty.
I like to watch them.
Couldn't give a fuck
I like to
less.
watch the outfits and the hairdos, and yeah, I'm not I don't really care. I don't really have a strong opinion. I'm just live and let live.
I just wish that wasn't a way that girls could get scholarships. I'm glad they get the scholarships. What am I trying to say? I just wish there was better ways. Like,
No, I get it. And who wants Donald Trump running around your
yeah,
dressing
I just
room
fucking
and
right.
Jeffrey Epstein or whatever?
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
fucking creeps. And but again, I don't think the creeps out there should keep us from like being in a pageant if that's what you want to, like, whatever. I don't care. If you want to do a pageant, good for you. Like, and if you're my best friend and you said I want to do a pageant, I'll fucking come and I'll cheer you on. I don't give a shit really. I'm just my personal opinion is, what the fuck are we still doing with beauty pageants? Come on. Beauty pageants, beauty. Ugh. Stupid. So annoying to me. And then I think about, like, my daughter's obsessed with watching Dance Moms, and the way that they stress those kids out and, like, push them to be perfect and compete them against one another's, and then the moms are, like, drunk and catty and starting fights, and the kids are like, "You're embarrassing the fuck out of me." Like,
never seen it.
if that was at all what John Bonet's life was like, Jesus Christ, because it's these poor kids. I hope every one of the kids that's been on Dance Moms grows up and sues the fuck out of their parents and the network and that fucking teacher.
Okay.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna have to watch
God.
it now.
I hope they all grow up and they're like, "You exploited the fuck out of me and ruined my one and only childhood, and I want damages."
Okay.
That's my hope. What's that stupid bitch's name? Why can't I think of her?
Honey Boo Boo?
No, no, the teacher. I can't think of her name, but
Okay.
the teacher on Dance
Yeah,
Moms.
see, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Fucking dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb.
Shall we go on?
Please.
Okay. Friends said Jean Bonnet enjoyed performing and she really liked the attention. So she wasn't like, I don't want to go on the stage, mommy. She was digging it.
Yeah.
Outside of pageantry, Jean Bonnet lived a highly secluded life. It was scheduled. There was school, rehearsals, and travel with family. She was always surrounded by adult supervision, and the household was described as busy, social, and image oriented, though.
I'm sure.
Christmas of 1996 included multiple parties, gifts, and upcoming travel plans. Her last day, her last days, December 23rd through the 25th of 96, there were lots of holiday celebrations and family gatherings, as well as pageant costumes. So that would probably have been fun for her.
I'm sure.
She appeared happy and excited about Christmas, as anybody that age would have. And they opened gifts and attended a holiday party on Christmas Eve. Jean Bonnet was last seen alive by her family when she was put to bed Christmas night after a party they had gone to at friends.
Right.
So they attended this Christmas party at the home of their friends called the Whites. Jean Bonnet was reportedly already asleep when the family returned home around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Patsy later stated that she put Jean Bonnet to bed wearing a red turtleneck and white leggings. And my question on that was, Was Patsy too tired to just put her in her jammies? Maybe she had, it's the end of a long Christmas week, wrapping presents, doing everything, shopping, and
I
it's
can
finally over. And
I can totally
so,
see me at the end of Christmas after probably Christmas Eve plans and Christmas
mhm,
plans and being like this for like 2 days straight, being
right.
like, "Yeah, you can sleep in your fucking clothes. Like I took the dress off of you, but you're in just like the tights and the turtleneck and you're going to live. You're clean. Go to bed." Absolutely,
Yeah.
I
I
can
mean, it
see
was either
that.
that or maybe she just didn't want to wake her. I don't know, but
It could be. Although I imagine after like a whole Christmas day, that child
nothing would wake
could
her.
not be
And
what
that's what
yeah.
I was
You
thinking
would crash out
too.
so hard. I think it would be more about me as a mom, like, "I'm fucking tired. I'm spent. It's not gonna hurt you to sleep in your shirt that you wore today."
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, like, I can see that.
Okay.
If it wasn't Christmas and it was just a regular day and like, routines were structured, maybe that would be more weird to me, but holidays, it's harder to follow even the most regimented structure,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
um
Yeah,
when
they're
you're
exhausting.
when you're like you got to go out and carry all the toys in still,
Yep.
you're tired,
Mhm.
you had to play Santa the night before, so you were up in the middle of the night, like
Right.
it's a lot.
Mhm. So Burke went to his bedroom and John went to bed shortly after that. Then at 5:52 a.m., so that was at like 9:30 or 10. So we're talking about sleeping the whole night, and then almost 6 o'clock in the morning, Patsy Ramsey calls 911, reporting that her daughter was kidnapped. She claimed to have found a 3-page handwritten ransom note demanding $118,000, which was actually nearly identical to John's recent Christmas bonus amount. All of this,
This is what's weird.
yeah, it's not the pageantry, that's for sure. So the note addressed John personally and included movie style language and threats, warning the family not to contact police, even with things like saying we'll behead her. But with having that threat, the family immediately contacted the police. That's the first thing they did.
And this is another reason why I thought that it was Burke. They were trying to draw attention away from him and away from like the stigma that would come, even if it was a complete accident, just the stigma of like the rest of his life being known as the kid who killed his sister, even by accident, is terrible. Like
Yes.
nobody wants that. And so the family was like, well, how can we make this look like it wasn't our son and just draw attention away from the family? Um, and then obviously we know nobody else is going to go down for it because we're not going to find anybody else, but it'll also
Right.
mean not, yes. And that's why it was written within the home from a tablet within the home,
Hmm.
which no one would do. You would write the note and bring it with you. You wouldn't be standing around writing a 3-page letter waiting to be found.
Right.
And it wouldn't have been such a specific amount that the family knew. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was written like, all right, what's a suspenseful movie we've seen with a hostage situation? What are some of the shit that they said? Yeah, write that down. Like, you know what I mean? That's another reason
Very
why I
dramatic.
thought that it was
Patsy writing it.
Burke and that it was the parents writing it to draw attention away from. But it also could have been the dad and
Yeah, I
draw,
don't. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the
yeah.
ransom note. Um, Patsy Ramsey said she found the note on the back staircase, not near Jean Benet's bedroom or by an exterior door, but it's a stairway that's used regularly by the family, not the grand staircase, but like the back kitchen stairs.
Yes.
People just go up and down to get to the kitchen and stuff. So it wasn't folded, it wasn't rushed, it was 3 pages long. It claimed that Jean Benet had been kidnapped by a foreign faction, demanding the $118,000 in very specific denominations. I could have spent 10 pages going over this note. I wanted to.
Oh, I know. The note is very
There is so much shit in this note, but I
yes.
just did the highlights. So it said it wanted the denominations placed in a very specific type of bag because that's important.
Right.
And delivered according to instructions that never came.
Right.
The amount mattered because it closely matched his bonus, and it wasn't a round number. Most people would have just said 120,000, not 118.
Right. It's the oddly specific amount.
It was very personal, not random.
Right. So it was either your best friend who knew what your bonus check was, like somebody who knew, but
Right.
still, even then, you would still put like 120. I'm sure you're fucking rich. You probably got $2 extra grand in your bank account too. Like,
Yeah, unless maybe you're a panicked mother
and you're just, yep, that's what I'm saying.
and you're feeling like any second now the police are going to come down and take your son and your daughter's already dead and
Yeah.
you're freaking out. So you just write some shit down that you're thinking about a movie you saw and
Yeah. Because otherwise, if you're coming to steal a child, you're not standing around in the back staircase thinking up a 3-page,
what would have
manifesto.
what would have been the point? She's in the basement, dead.
Well, if someone did, let's play out kidnapping. Kidnapper comes to the house. You have to write the letter first, right? Unless you chloroformed, you go in John Benet's room, chloroform her. She's knocked out. Throw her over your shoulder. With the little girl on your shoulder in the back staircase, you draft a 3-page ransom letter.
Right, on paper that they had there.
And then somehow, within the few hours that you get away in 1996, with no like digital footprints or security cameras, you still know you must have been listening to the police scanner that they called the police. So you're like, oh, we told you not to call the police. You done fucked up now. So they kill her. And then with the police already there and the family there, you sneak back into the home and put her dead body in the basement, and then you sneak back out.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Unless you kidnapped her and you were just hiding in the basement with her like this, waiting to see if you heard that they gathered the money. Like, what?
Right.
Like, it doesn't
make any sense. Unless you're a panicked mother trying to protect either yourself, your husband, or your child.
Unless she never left the house. Yeah.
So, yeah. The letter was not panicky. It was very theatrical, which is like Patsy. She's very theatrical. It referenced power, control, authority, and consequences.
And you would be panicked by the situation, but you wouldn't be panicked in the same sense that a kidnapper would. Like, at any second, the child could wake up. The parents could wake up. I could be caught or seen or heard. I need to get the fuck out of here swiftly.
This is somebody who knows they've got time.
Yes, exactly.
It warned, do not call police, do not contact anyone. But the police were called immediately, and then all their friends and family were called.
And you know what? And the things I've watched, they always make a big deal about that too. But in anything I've ever watched, people always call the police unless they were very sure that they were being watched. Like newer shit where someone said, that camera right there is watching you and I'm going to fucking know if you make a call and they're dead. This was 96. Again, a little harder to tell if somebody makes a phone call out of the fucking house. Not impossible, I know that, but harder to tell. Unless you think they bugged your fucking house. The police always tell you should still call us.
Right.
Like, like if you know anything about anything.
Why call the friends and have everybody come over to your house? What, wouldn't you be afraid that they were surveilling you if you still didn't know where your daughter was?
Yes.
And, I would be like, well, don't come here. They're watching.
And they did call, like, their friends and everything?
Yeah. Friends came over to the house. Everybody just tromped through everything. So, where it stops behaving like a ransom note is that it was written inside the house using Patsy Ramsey's personal pen, her personal stationery, and that a practice note had actually been started and discarded. And then the final version showed zero urgency. It wasn't written with that urgent script.
No.
It was just very well written.
No, and that's like me when I do my Christmas cards and I'm trying to write like my name in cursive and like forget letters and I'm like, fuck. And like I throw it away and like I start a new Christmas card for you.
Yes.
Like,
do we all do that?
Yeah. Like no one's like writing a practice ransom letter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, That's why you write your ransom letter at home. So it's like you glue the fucking letters on and it looks really cool and really sick and you're like ready to make that money. Like you're not like doing it in the moment on their hoping they have legal pat like, hey, where are your guys' pens? I have to draft this letter. Do you guys?
Yeah, it just is not well thought out. So experts examined the handwriting for years, and their conclusions were it's not John's handwriting. It's not Berg's handwriting, but Patsy could not be ruled out. But no definitive match was ever made, but Patsy couldn't be ruled out. The ambiguity became permanent. No proof. I just fucked up the word ambiguity and I was trying to get
You
by.
did it again. Ambiguity.
Anyways, I don't even know what that
Ambiguous.
means.
It means ambiguous is like without like pinpoint, like without being able to make a final conclusion. Like
right, a little doubt.
Yeah, like saying something ambiguously would be like like not really being definitive. Okay. The opposite of definitive. I know what it means, but I'm having a really hard time defining it right now.
That's okay. Me too.
You can't say it, I can't define it.
What the note did not give a drop-off location. So if it really was a ransom note, they would need that, or it didn't provide a time for contact.
Well, the guy was in the basement with her, right? And didn't need a drop-off location. No, I'm just joking.
No ransom call was ever made that would corroborate the note, and no attempt was made to retrieve any money. So the note is absolutely pointless. The only purpose that they came up with that
is to like look over here.
Yes.
There's this note. There's
just a tactic.
There's a ransom or a kidnapper somewhere.
It was to confuse investigators.
Okay, so if it wasn't the family, the only other, like, again, it would have to be somebody calculated enough to know I need to draw attention away from myself because I already took that little girl downstairs, did stuff to her, and killed her. And I don't want them knowing it's me, so how can I make them, like, look over here in the wrong direction? Again, who would spend that much time in the house drafting a 3-page letter and just hanging out in the place with the girl dead in the basement? If you're trying to distract attention because you're worried about getting caught, that's not the same person who's going to stand in the house for 20 fucking minutes drafting a letter.
Right.
You know, like.
Yeah, it just doesn't jibe. So, to detectives, the notes raised questions that no intruder should have created, like, why write 3 pages instead of 1 line? Why risk staying inside the home for so long? Like you said, and why reference personal financial details? And why stage a kidnapping when the body remained hidden? The note didn't feel external. It really felt internal.
Yeah.
Those who believe it was staged say the note was written after Jean Benet was already dead. I fully believe that. It was meant to redirect police. It bought some time, and it reframed the narrative.
Yeah.
Those who believe it an intruder say the DNA points outward. The note reflects a disorganized offender. The killer may have planned to kidnap but lost control.
Disorganized offender, but someone who spelled all of the words in this really weird and fucking bizarre note correctly.
Right.
Like someone, like an educated person.
Here's an interesting fact. The note is the longest ransom note in FBI history. It asks a question the case never answers, which is, was it written by someone pretending to be an outsider? Or was
an
it written,
insider pretending to be an outsider. Right. Yeah. Yes. An actual outsider or an insider pretending to be. Yeah.
So the initial police response. The Boulder police arrived within minutes. The home was not secured as a crime scene. Friends and clergy were allowed inside. Rooms were actually cleaned, and evidence was disturbed or destroyed. No search for Jean Benet occurred for hours.
Yeah.
Total police failure on this one.
Well, they looked like they let like everybody came over like, "Oh my god, we can't find her." And someone was like, "Well, let's just check the house again." Like I'm sure at first the parents went to like the typical spots. Like
The
bedrooms,
bedroom.
bathroom,
Right.
kitchen, living room, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm
Well,
sure, like in a normal situation, mom would be like, "We need to call 911." And the dad would probably be the one that was like, "Calm the fuck down. Let me go check outside. What if she's in the garage? What if she thought she forgot her pony doll in the car, like her stuffed animal?"
it was a detective.
You would think, like, hold on, like, let's check a little better before we freak the fuck out. And then once everybody came over and like the police and stuff were involved, then they were like, okay, like, let's look at the house one more time because nothing looked disturbed. There was no like signs immediately of like breaking and entering. So they were like, let's just check around the house one more time.
Yeah, so 7 hours after the 911 call at 1:05 p.m., Detective Linda Arndt asked John and a family friend to search the house top to bottom. So that's when that happened. So John Ramsey went directly to the basement and opened the wine cellar room door. That's the first place he looked. And there was Jean Benet's body found right there on the floor. It's almost like he was waiting for permission to go get her. Like he could barely stand the fact that she was right there, laying there in the cold, dark basement. It's almost like when they
Yeah,
finally said, go search, he was like, thank God, I'll go
right.
find her immediately.
Somebody suggested, right. I didn't want to be the one to find her until somebody told me to go.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that it's the first place he looked, but they hadn't looked before.
Yeah, because
Anyways,
I just think that it's so weird. Anytime where I've ever felt like I couldn't find the kids, I've immediately wanted to freak out and call the fucking police, but would have been so embarrassed if they were just like upstairs with headphones on, which is like why they weren't like responding to me.
yes.
So I always check I even look in the basement where my kids don't like to go because it's creepy, just because I'm not going to call the cops and then have them be like, "Did you look everywhere in the house?" And me be like, "Well, no, I didn't, but I think they're not here." At that point, it's a little weird that 7 hours went by, and even if she had gone down to the basement on her own accord and tripped and fell or something, that she didn't call out or wake up or...
The police are just bungling this, in my opinion. I think, this is my personal opinion. I think police can be intimidated by rich, powerful people. And if they're the ones,
Well, yeah.
if they go to a rich, powerful house, they defer to what the powerful people say and want to do. They don't just say, hey, this is a crime scene and this is what we're going to do. Stop inviting your clergy and your friends over. This is a crime scene. Everybody out. I mean, I just think that they're afraid to.
And that they're saying, "Oh, I found a ransom note." In this community had probably never had ransom note before. And they're like, "We don't know what to fucking do with this. We're going to have to call the fucking FBI and outsource here." Like, what? Like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like they were just like, they didn't take command of the situation and
Not
do
at all.
anything that made sense. And yeah, at that point, everybody had been traipsing all over the fucking house.
So this is interesting. When Jean Benet was found, she was wearing a white nightgown. If you remember, she was put to bed in her red turtleneck with white tights. So it's not the Christmas outfit. How did she get in this white nightgown? And you have to wonder, because this is where they were talking about, did she wet the bed? And they were saying maybe she pissed Patsy off and Patsy lost it for a second and hit her over the head or something.
Something, yeah.
Because she wet the bed and Patsy's overly exhausted and tired and accidentally hurts her. And now what's she going to do?
Right.
So that was another theory. All right, so that's what she'd been found wearing. Her mouth was covered with duct tape, and her wrists were very loosely bound. And it's important to note the bindings weren't meant to keep her from moving because they were that loose. It was like they were put on after she was already dead.
It didn't look genuine. It looked staged. Like, there wasn't
Yes.
signs that they were put on her because she was awake and she was struggling and there was, like, rope burns on her wrist.
Yeah,
She
no.
could have just taken her hands
Out of
out
them.
of them.
And same with the duct tape over her mouth. There was no saliva or teeth marks on the inside of the duct tape where any child would have been, trying to speak or it's almost like it was just put on for staging
Yeah.
after she was dead. She did so a homemade garrote was found around her neck, and that's just a way to tighten a rope around somebody's
It's
neck.
basically like
A
a rope with
garrote.
like a garrote, like a rope with like a pencil through it because you can only pull a rope with your hand so tight.
But if you twist it,
But if you twist, you get better leverage and you can get it a lot tighter like the whole way around and you're not really like hurting your hand then either. It's I don't remember. Is it a military thing? Is that where those came from? I can't remember, but
I don't know.
it's also not something that also is not something that everybody would just know. I know from watching all these crime shows now, but I got to tell you, I didn't know that years ago. And in the heat of the moment, if I like had accidentally killed my kid and then was like, fuck, what do I do? I think the ransom note was enough, like now we're like doubling down. Now there's this ransom theory, but also there's this like weird, very specific fucking kill method
Yeah.
and duct tape and all this kind of shit. I guess the duct tape goes with the ransom theory, but
Well,
I don't know. I guess the garrote goes with an international faction. Some fucking mobster fucking shit.
right, the foreign factions.
The foreign, that's what it was, yeah.
Jean Benet had severe head trauma, and there was evidence of prior sexual injury. John carried her upstairs, and then they laid her down and hugged her, cried and fussed over her, further contaminating the scene
Wrecking
and the
yeah.
evidence. So the autopsy was performed on the 27th by the Boulder County coroner. John Benet Ramsey was 6 years old, and the medical examiner ruled that the official cause of death was asphyxiation by strangulation, but also associated with craniocerebral trauma. So, in other words, she
It's hard to
probably
say
would have
what
died
way happened first.
by
Yeah.
the trauma to her head, but that she eventually died by asphyxiation.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that this severe blunt force trauma was on the right side of her skull. The fracture measured 8.5 inches. That's like the entire size
Side
of her head.
Yes.
I mean, her
that's
head
like
has
a
been
bat.
caved in.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's something long and straight like a bat or a crowbar, something long that can hit and the whole, like even like my hand, like if I punch, that's only 4 inches,
Right.
An 8-inch fracture.
That's your whole head.
That's the whole head. It's got to be something long and it's got to be, that's a lot.
A lot of force.
Yeah.
Because
do you think, what do you think if she like got pushed really hard, like a grown adult pushing as hard as you can, a child, and they like fall and hit like the corner of a step? Do you think that's enough to fracture across the whole head?
only if they picked her up by her feet and slammed her into the step. That's, how I feel about it. I mean, kids fall down the stairs all the time and they don't have 8 inches of skull fracture.
Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
got to be forceful. That's some serious force.
Yeah.
So, okay. There was internal bleeding and brain swelling. In other words, she probably would have died of that.
Without immediate help.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was little to no external bleeding, though. So on her scalp, she didn't have any cuts on her scalp.
So less like the corner of something that would most likely also break
Cut
the
into
skin,
her.
and more like something blunt. That had more surface area, but couldn't like I said, like a bat. Like
Yeah.
one good crack from a bat, which isn't necessarily going to break the skin, but it is going to damage the skull underneath. Like,
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So the blow was very powerful, but to the eye, she may have just looked asleep. Medical experts concluded the head injury did occur first, strangulation followed later, and they estimated anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours that she was strangulated after
The bleeds.
the
You could tell
head
how
trauma.
much trauma had happened and how much swelling there was before she died, because then blood flow would have stopped.
So if you're an intruder and you're planning a kidnapping, you come in and somehow or another she gets this head trauma. So now you're like, well, she's probably going to die. So you wait for 45 minutes to 2 hours and then you strangle her to make sure she dies.
But the whole point was supposed to be a payout.
But why wouldn't you just take her and
Right,
try
and
to get the money and just not return
fuck
her?
yeah, then just be like, haha, idiot, she was dead anyways, and I got all your money. Because you're a bad
Yeah.
person, so you don't really fucking care, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, no, I don't get it either. It's
So it's the 2 hour wait to strangle her means she did not die immediately. There was time for decisions, time for escalation, and time for staging.
that's what I'm saying. I think to like a lay person, she got cracked in the head for some reason. False. It's malicious. They whatever. She ends up with this head injury. Her head is starting to swell. After an hour, after 10 minutes, it's probably visibly starting to fucking swell now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's obviously unconscious. And time is passing. She's not responding to you. You're shaking her. She doesn't seem to be waking up. And a pulse becomes very faint. And if you're not a doctor or a medically trained person, maybe you can't even find it. And you think she is dead already. And then you do your damage control, like, fuck, what am I going to do? And you're like, okay, the wife says we should write a ransom note. And the husband says we should make it look like somebody broke in and killed her. And they're like, you know what? Let's do both. And she goes upstairs and drafts a 3-page ransom note. And he goes downstairs and does this military style garrote to make it look like some fucking weirdo fetishist broke in and strangled her in this really specific way.
Yeah.
And, you know, like,
that's what it feels like.
And little do they know, like, if they would have just been like, oh, she fell and cracked her head on the stairs and they took her to the hospital, she wasn't dead yet.
Yeah. It feels like a cover-up to protect someone's ass.
Yeah.
And, you know, it most likely was Burke or the mom that did something. And they just decided this is going to look bad for the family, or this is going to look bad for our reputation, or somebody's going to jail. So let's just do all this other shit and try to get away with it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I get it.
So the strangulation, it was a nylon cord wrapped tightly around her neck. The cord was attached to a broken paintbrush handle. And that was actually traced to Patsy Ramsey's art supplies. So again, they didn't even bring the garrote with them.
No, that's what I'm saying. Everything that was used from the letter to the kill kit was all shit that was at the house, which is also weird, because if you break in to kidnap a little girl, and again, you want in and out and the point is money, you bring the fucking shit with you.
Yes.
You don't like, hold on, I gotta rummage around a stranger's fucking home to hope they have some rope and duct tape.
Stuff I can make a garrote with.
Yeah, let me go in your garage and bang around out here to find the fucking duct tape. Like, and let me, I really want to use this garrote, but I'm not gonna bring any of my own shit. I'll look around and waste some time.
Rummage through your shit and make noise. And
yeah, like,
yeah,
far-fetched.
It doesn't make sense. So, as I said, her wrists were loosely bound with cord. It wasn't restrained, though. Experts describe them as ineffective, more symbolic than functional, because they didn't stop movement. They just created an image.
Yeah.
And then a piece of duct tape covered her mouth. I think I already talked about this. Yeah. No signs of a struggle.
Right.
No tongue prints or saliva consistent with active resistance. So why would somebody do that? It's all staging. You're just trying to confuse the investigators. But then there were sexual injury findings, and this part's weird. So the autopsy found evidence of acute vaginal injury. There were microscopic findings suggesting prior irritation. That could be anything.
I was going to say that was the only thing to me where it just seemed like a stretch. Like it
was prior abuse, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Some believe it showed prior sexual abuse, but others said it could be caused by hygiene, childhood infections, or just normal irritation.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she just didn't wash very good.
Yeah. Or like maybe she was sitting weird or
that's true.
Touching herself or
could have been.
You know, like it's not always sinister, you know, like little girls become aware
They're
that
curious.
They have parts and touch them sometimes and put things around or
that's
in them.
True.
Like
they
it's
do.
not unusual and it's not perverted. It's just your body. You're just figuring out what your stuff is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not always
ominous.
Someone else involved. That being said, I do know that people get molested by their family members all the fucking time. It does happen. It wouldn't shock me. But what they found, the findings, I've watched the documentary on this, and what they said was like, you couldn't say like for sure that she had been like penetrated or that she had been like that there were signs of scars or tearing or trauma. It was just like these little acute like, this could be something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know. I feel like that's another thing that it just became distracting.
Right.
And it just led to a lot of insinuation and accusation that, again, might have been a look over here instead of like where we needed to look.
Very possible. So there were no significant scratches or torn skin or classic signs of prolonged struggle, which indicated she may have been unconscious early or incapacitated, maybe by a taser gun, before the final act. The toxicology.
Yeah, wasn't there a mark on her that they thought could be a taser?
Yes, a potential 2-pronged taser.
Yeah.
Yeah. The toxicology report showed nothing in her system.
But her stomach contents were strange.
Yes, she had pineapple.
Considering that the mom said that she was asleep in the car on the way home, and then they just carried her right up and put her not even in jammies and just laid her to bed because it was just the end of a long day. But then she had undigested food in her stomach.
Yes.
Which would suggest they got home from the party and she said, "Mom, can I have a snack?" Which is something my kids would do. They already had dinner and 17 snacks, and we get home and they're like, "Can I have another snack?"
Well, I think, in my opinion, Patsy was exhausted, and she's the one that went to bed and just passed out. She put Jean-Benet to bed in, her shirt and tights. I say later on, Jean-Benet woke up and maybe wanted to play with her Christmas toys or something.
Right.
Put on her nightgown because that's what she was found in.
Yeah.
Went downstairs with Burke because Burke's fingerprints were on the pineapple bowl. They found the bowl with the pineapple in it on the kitchen counter.
Yes.
And Burke's fingerprints were on it. So that puts him there with her.
At the time that she was eating, at least.
Yes. So what happened after that is anybody's guess, but it does speak to they were awake, they were doing shit while mom and dad were asleep. Maybe they got into a fight. At the bare
minimum, the kids were obviously awake.
The kids were awake.
Do we know if the adults were awake? No. So maybe was the adults telling of like, when we got home, the kids were asleep. We carried them to bed and then we went to bed. Maybe that was all true. And then something happened between 9:30 at bedtime and 5:30 in the morning. Also, who the fuck is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Christmas and checking on the day after Christmas and checking on their kids and realizing one's missing. Dude, the day after Christmas, I don't know, maybe they had plans at 7 for church. I don't know. But it just seems like, why the fuck were you up at 5 o'clock in the morning? But neither here nor there. But um, it just seems odd. Like, but as a mother, after Christmas Day and how exhausted I am, like any other time, I might hear my kids get up and start clinking around in the kitchen or walking through the hallway, or like be aware that they're up, and maybe I like hear it and I don't really care and I go back to sleep. But the day after Christmas and I'm sleeping, I might be dead ass tired and not even hear them both get up and go
Yeah, that's
downstairs.
what I'm thinking. And then maybe Burke was playing with something like a golf club and practice swinging it and accidentally hit her in the head
Yeah.
and went and got mom then when she didn't respond. And mom was like, "Oh my
Or
gosh, you
waited a
killed
while
her."
because you're freaking out. You're freaking out.
Could
Like,
be.
fuck, 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 wake up. I'm going to get in trouble. Stop fucking around. Mom's going to ground me.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh God, like she's not waiting. And yes, like that's what I said from the beginning. Like it just seemed like an accident, and the parents thought, why make this worse than it needs to be for our son? Like, let's salvage our one child we
Yeah,
have
they
left
probably
now.
thought, "Oh, they're gonna take him to the DH or he's gonna have to go to psychiatry. It's gonna ruin our reputation," because they were very
People are
image
gonna say like,
conscious.
oh, you killed your sister. Like I said, like, you know how fucking school works. Like they'd had to move. Like there's
They
no
would
coming
have,
back from that, even if it was completely accidental.
because they
And
were the affluent couple in the affluent neighborhood,
yeah,
the power couple, the power family, the beauty queens, and
yeah,
yeah. So, where am I? Oh, the time of death was just estimated between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. based on the testimony of Patsy,
right.
because they really couldn't pinpoint it. And that was based on the body temperature, the environmental conditions, and the time spent indoors. So they just couldn't say.
Yeah.
She was downstairs in a cold basement. That's going to preserve. She's not going to warm up or get cold as the same timing.
Yeah. It's not like, yeah, but the medical, like coroners know how bodies react in each condition, like how long it takes a body to hit a certain temperature
Yes,
at a certain time, or
that is right.
not to mention, like I said, the contents of the stomach that didn't jive with the story that the parents gave. Like, she was in bed by 9:30. When the fuck was she eating pineapple? It would have digested in her stomach a little bit more than that, unless you all passed out by 10, and at 11 is when somebody broke into the house to
And
kidnap
fed
her
her some pineapple.
before they took her. Right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing makes sense. It's just a lot of unknowns. That's what they say when you commit murder or something. You're always making like 10 mistakes that you never even thought of.
Yeah.
So how would they have known she was eating the pineapple? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyways, or how would they have known how that would come up in the
Right. Or if you run
investigation?
downstairs because your son's like, Sissy won't get up, and then you're like trying to damage control, you're like, the last thing that you noticed was like the fucking bowl of pineapple on the counter, that
Yeah.
they have pineapple every day for a snack. It might have been from a day before, like, like,
Right.
yeah.
As far as forensic evidence, there was unknown male DNA found in Jean Benet's underwear mixed with her blood. So they're saying it could be transfer, but at the same time, mixed with her blood seems less likely to be transfer.
Why was there blood in her underwear?
They're saying she had a sexual assault.
Not like her clothes were soaked with blood, but there was a trace of blood in her underwear, and there was male DNA with it.
Mixed with her blood in her underwear.
I don't remember there being blood in her underwear. If there's blood in her underwear, then there's like no question that she was sexually assaulted. And I remember feeling like that's a stretch, that she was, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, how would you explain it unless it was just apparent that she was assaulted, but they didn't find, it wasn't definitive that she was assaulted. They found something that might have been a past assault. So, anyways, the DNA didn't
Yeah, a
match.
past assault wouldn't mean current blood in your underwear.
Right, right. I get it.
And you said that there was no outside trauma to her skull. She
No,
wasn't covered in blood. She was
no.
just found dead, strangled manually
Yes.
with a head trauma, but no bleeding out her nose or mouth or anything. She looked pristine, except for with the thing around her,
Yes.
throat. But
No, I wish I would have looked into that a little bit more. That's interesting. Um, the DNA didn't match anybody, and later John Ramsey was exonerated because of the DNA, and that was in 2008. Okay, critics say the DNA sample was small and potentially transferred, not definitive proof of an intruder.
yeah,
That makes more sense to me.
it could have just been, that everything done was sloppy up until that point.
Yeah.
One of the techs, when they were bagging it, had touch, like transfer DNA.
Yes. Okay, suspects. We talked about mom, dad, and Burke.
Yeah.
Then there's the unknown male. Profile is unknown adult male, and that's the person who had the DNA found in Jean Monet's underwear. And it was also in her long johns. Okay, so it wasn't just in her underwear, it was also in her long johns.
Okay.
So that's quite a bit of DNA that's not necessarily transferable. I don't know, but they never matched it to anybody, known or even unknown, like in the system.
Yeah.
So
And the FBI or the cops would have had their shit in the system to be able to make sure that it wasn't like a cross contamination. So
the evidence supporting this intruder theory was that there was a basement window that appeared to have been unlatched, and there was a suitcase beneath it that John swore they hadn't put there, as though somebody used it to climb out.
Yes.
So there was also a footprint near the body, a big boot print. And the theory is that the intruder allegedly entered while the family slept, spent extended time inside the home, wrote a long ransom note, and killed Jean Benet without completing the kidnapping. That's the theory. I mean, a potential theory, not the theory. However, there's no clear exit or entry, no ransom call, basically no proof of anything. So
basically it would still even be that the intruder itself like broke in just to diddle a kid and then kill the kid so that there was no witness, nobody could say who it was. And then he staged the scene to make it harder for cops to try to find him.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right. That's a lot of you already killed her.
If you don't want to get found, get the fuck out of the house.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But you didn't wear gloves, you left behind evidence. What were you you're so thoughtful that you write this detailed, well-written 3-page ransom note with this very specific amount of money, but you weren't smart enough to wear gloves?
Yeah. All right, so then there's Michael.
Or maybe he did wear gloves, maybe he sweat on her clothes. I don't know.
Gary Oliva. So Gary Oliva
stupid mic stand.
Was a convicted sex offender. He was a known pedophile that lived near Boulder, and later he was convicted on child exploitation charges. The reason they investigated him is that he owned items similar to the Garrett materials. The Garrett, I'm sorry, I call it Garrett, the Garrett materials. He wrote, okay, did you find anything?
I'm looking right now, hold on.
This guy wrote, did you know about this guy? He wrote these obsessive letters.
Yes.
Referencing her.
No semen was found on Jean Benet Ramsey, but evidence of sexual assault, including vaginal injury and unidentified DNA in her underwear and under her fingernails, indicated a sexual component to the crime. So it wasn't that it was semen. It was the fact that it was in her underwear that made them think like I said, diddled, but not raped. You know what I mean? The DNA recovered from under her fingernails was not identified as belonging to any family member, leading to the family to be cleared as suspects in 2008, but the perpetrator's DNA remains unidentified. So they've never been popped for anything that got them swabbed and in the system.
Right, right.
So, or while she was going to the bathroom at their house and her underwear were down, she took them all the way off while she was going to the bathroom, or they rubbed against the bottom of the toilet while she was kicking her feet and got his DNA on it, and then she put them back on. You know what I mean?
Many ways that could have happened.
Yeah, and if Mr. White had never been accused of a crime and they had no like grounds to ask him for his DNA, or like maybe even never thought to ask,
right?
You know. Yeah, like there's a lot of way. Or like what if the crime text was sweating while he was carrying stuff out of the basement? You know what I mean? And
yeah, because they weren't treating it, very carefully. They were very careless with everything.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of ways. But I realized that it was inside her underwear. I get that. Like that's why I'm saying that to me it makes sense if while a little girl was going to the bathroom, she put her like things I wouldn't do. Because I would think as an adult, like it's gross to let the part of my underwear that rubs against me touch the ground or anything. Right. Yeah. But like little kids don't fucking know. No. My kids toss their whole fucking clothes off, take a shit naked, and then put their clothes back on. You know what I mean?
Right.
My kids carry their food in the bathroom with them. I'm like, that's where we shit. Like, go put it down. Go to your business and then wash your hands and go back. Like kids don't think, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, that would make sense.
It could be totally not sinister at all, or it could be terribly sinister and gross, like.
Well, okay. This guy, what I say his name was Gary Oliva. Gary Oliva. He wrote these obsessive letters. They implied guilt, but then they would deny it. They would apologize to her family, claiming he failed her.
Yeah.
And referred to himself as evil and broken. Then in his third letter, he claimed he was in Boulder that night and he knew what happened and that he carried lifelong guilt for it. Then later, he said he was just mentally unstable. But then he wrote a fourth letter, and it was all about religious shit.
Yeah, the guy was just a fucking nut. It reminds me of So I Married an Axe Murderer, when he's like, the lady who said she murdered Ralph Elliott, and he was like, yeah, murdered. She confessed to a few other murders. And he's like, I knew she would. He's like, yeah, did you? She confessed to Warren G. Harding, John F. Kennedy, and Abraham Lincoln. She's a nutcase. And he's like, oh, fuck, like it wasn't her, like she just read the name in the paper and said I did it. Like some people are just fucking bonkers,
And that's this guy.
Yeah.
So then they had one more suspect, and his name was Michael Helgoth. He was a local laborer.
Hadn't he been in the house to do something? Wasn't there somebody who, hold on, I'm not talking into my mic now, I need coffee. Wasn't there somebody who had been in the house to do work for them, who could have seen the window and been like, you know what? If I unlock this, nobody's going to know. And then I could sneak back in the night, sneak through it, and do what I want, and then sneak back out. I thought that there was somebody who had been doing work in the house, like a laborer, like an electrician or security system or something. And
I don't know, for some reason, I'm thinking of a janitor in the church. But
there was somebody who had been in the home who wasn't normally in the home, but was there long enough to like concoct a plan if they wanted to.
Maybe it was this guy.
I thought I was remembering that. Watch me as I catch my tits on fire, everybody. I need coffee, okay, people?
Get this girl some coffee.
No, I do think that I thought I remembered something like that, except for it had lightly snowed and there was no footprints anywhere.
That's why they
outside the home.
That's why they said that
it couldn't have been. That's why they thought that it had to be someone in the family to begin with, because there was no evidence that
anybody
had been walking around the house.
So this guy was a former junkyard worker, and he was known to wear boots matching the footprint that was found. But he allegedly bragged about knowing what happened, and that's why he was looked at. But the notable thing about him is that he died by suicide shortly after her murder. So that could have been guilt. He was found with his boots and a stun gun, which was, they had said maybe she had been stunned, and
What
that's
was his
why.
name?
Michael Helgoth.
Okay.
So the problem is no DNA match. His bragging was considered unreliable, and his suicide could have just been totally
No
unrelated.
DNA match because he died and they couldn't do one, or he was still alive, or even post-mortem they had a hairbrush and had DNA available, or a toothbrush, and they ran it and it wasn't him.
I didn't find out that. I just assumed they did a test and it didn't match.
I'm going to Google that too.
Michael Helgoth.
Got it.
Helgoth.
Was Michael Helgoth's DNA tested? John Benet.
Many experts argue that the true suspect pool was never properly narrowed because of the contaminated crime scene, the delayed forensic testing, media pressure, and early tunnel vision. The Ramseys were highly under suspicion because the ransom note was written inside the home, because no signs of forced entry, because the body never left the house, and the inconsistent statements over time. There was a refusal in the beginning to participate in separate police interviews immediately.
Mhm.
The Ramseys refused to, like, they lawyered up immediately. Which,
Yeah, they had I think they had a PR person right away that was like,
I don't see anything wrong with that. If a cop wants to ask me a question, I'm lawyering up, because
in this fucking society,
after
yeah,
seeing, the Making a Murderer,
once they get an idea about you, yeah, no, I agree.
you're not giving
It
them
says that they did
anything.
run his DNA and it wasn't a match.
Okay, that's good to know. But did you see Patsy in that one interview where she was drugged? People talked about that. They went and actually did an interview, and
I've seen a multiple interviews with them.
she was out of it. She was out of it. I can't think of who it was.
I don't know. The interviews with her always to me were like, if I lost my daughter, I might pop some Xanax and check the fuck out. And I might, if you kept accusing me and my family, I might get really belligerent and defensive.
Possibly.
Nothing she ever did seemed outside of the realm of possibility. It also didn't ever make me feel like she couldn't have been involved.
If she had to cover up something that either she, her husband, or her son did, that's just as much of a reason to become drugged.
That's what I'm saying.
Either or.
That's what I'm saying. Her behavior just seemed in either way, either scenario, appropriate.
Yeah. Well, a Boulder grand jury was convened, and they actually indicted John and Patsy Ramsey on child abuse resulting in death and accessory to a crime. But the indictments were never signed. District Attorney Alex Hunter declined to prosecute, and they probably just didn't think they had enough evidence. The existence of the indictments is actually hidden from the public for over a decade. So, yeah, we didn't know about that. But unfortunately, Patsy Ramsey died of ovarian cancer in 2006. So she survived breast cancer only to die of ovarian cancer. And then that was before the 2008
exoneration.
Yeah.
When they could rerun the DNA with better technology.
John Ramsey continues to advocate for more DNA testing and, is hopeful that a match will come up one day from a criminal that's been tested.
Yeah.
Burke Ramsey was publicly cleared by the police, and the case remains officially unsolved. However, Boulder police reaffirm investigation is active and a priority. They release an annual update noting that the John Benet Ramsey murder, nearly 29 years old now, is still a top priority. They have collected new evidence, retested existing items, and conducted new interviews and re-interviews based on tips, which there were more than 21,000 of over the years. And investigators have traveled widely to interview people with potential connections. So they're doing what they can now, but it's not, what can they do now?
Right.
It's pretty much over unless that DNA ever comes up and somebody confesses that matches the DNA.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, what do you really think? Do you think it's an outside person that left the DNA? Or maybe they had some DNA of somebody that they just rubbed into her panties and long johns? Maybe they had a piece of gum that somebody came over and threw away and they,
It's
I'm
Christmas
just,
time. People are in and out of the house, but people
yeah,
were in and out of those other people's house too. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
What if,
just suppositioning.
you clean your bathroom really good. You live in a fancy house, so you clean really well. You have your maid clean really well before a party, right? But then you're having the party and people are coming over and they're going in and out of the bathroom and other kids are coming in and out of the bathroom. And what happens when people are going to the bathroom? They piss on the fucking down the toilet, right?
Right.
It just happens.
So maybe that's how it got there.
So, I still say, like, what if while she was trying to go to the bathroom by herself unsupervised, she rubbed her underwear and her leggings against something, and the DNA is a red herring.
Okay.
So,
It's really about all the other stuff.
you're still just left with the weird fucking ransom note that reads more like a manifesto that's written from within the home.
in a style that Patsy would have used.
Yes. Like, it just...
And a handwriting that could have been hers. They couldn't rule it out.
And the reason that I say that I think that it was an accident and that they were trying to damage control is because the pain that they felt seemed genuine to me. They seemed deeply sad that she was dead, and like they had done everything to, give her a good life and to help her to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that it was anything that was planned. It just didn't seem planned to me. It seemed like the death happened by accident, and then there was a lot of like, fuck, what do we do? Damage control. Yeah, it's just one of those cases where it's very weird. Like, why break into someone's house?
Yeah,
sneak
that whole
upstairs to
thing
get the child,
just doesn't.
and then take the child downstairs where they could easily make noise eventually. Like, even if you stun gun them, at some point they're going to wake up, and you wouldn't want them to do that in the house where they would alert everybody,
Right.
and so you want to do something weird to them, or you just wanted to kill them. And that was just, I just really want to break in and kill this child.
Which
Like,
in that case, why wait 45 to 2 hours? 45
right,
minutes
like,
to 2 hours to finish her off.
why stun gun her, hit her over the, and we can't prove that she was, they don't know that that's what those marks were. But at the bare minimum, we know she was hit over the head and then strangled. And then you use all shit from their home to do it. And then you hang out for a while, like writing a letter. No, it's just not right. Crumble, 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 throw it away, start letter again. Like, I get nervous when I'm like wrapping my kids' Christmas presents that they might wake up. And I'm like all like anxious, nervous butterflies. And I'm like ready to like push all the fucking presents out of the way so that they, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about someone who just killed. There's a fucking body next to you of a child. Like, you would want to get the fuck out of there. Like, obviously, though, you're not right in your mind. Because you're not killing a child if you're right in your mind, right?
Of course.
But most killers aren't right in their mind, but do want to avoid detection.
Yeah. That scenario makes zero sense, where the cover-up scenario makes perfect sense. And it's like I said, I truly believe money talks, and they were very wealthy, very rich, and high standing in the community. The police would have been intimidated, and the grand jury might not have wanted to prosecute because that's a high tax-paying
Well, it
citizen.
sounds like the grand jury, when they convened a grand jury, they thought that there was probable cause to press the charges, but the
The
attorney
attorney,
knew, like,
yeah,
you're not going to be able to flip these people against one another, and all the evidence is circumstantial. Of course,
right.
the DNA of the parents was found on her. They were crying over top of her.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I just think that definitely, probably Patsy freaked out, but it could have been Burke. I just don't feel like he could have pulled it off afterwards for all these
like
years.
kept it under a
Yeah,
lid.
I feel like it would have seriously affected his mind.
Yeah.
But I think that Patsy could have done something or just lost control for a minute. Whatever. She's under stress. She's breast cancer survivor. It's the holidays. Um, Jean Benet is wetting the bed sometimes. That's nerve wracking when you have to wake up when you're tired in the middle of the night and change a kid and change the
Yeah.
bed. And
Yes.
um, maybe she just did something. Maybe she just knocked her. And like you said, her head shoved into the corner of a um, something
The bed
dresser.
frame or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
And then after that happened, she's like, oh no, what do I do? And so she gets John and they keep Burke out of it. And they don't even know that Burke had pineapple with her. They're just trying to.
Yeah. We go back to, like, did they just not wash their bowls very good and his fingerprints are on it from before or something? You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I don't know. There's just too many things that just don't make sense. Which is why it's still not solved.
It's a tough one,
Yeah.
but that's all we have for you today.
All right, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a like. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing and getting all notifications when we drop our episodes 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
That's right.
So the next episode coming up is going to be a juicy one. Please tune in. And if you haven't seen our last episode about the crazy woman
About the suicide
yeah,
by 23 stab wounds.
yeah, you're going to want to watch
That's
that
another
one.
one that just leaves you being like, how the fuck? Who the fuck? Why the fuck?
It is. It's a good
Yeah.
one. So thanks again for stopping by.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.